One of the most cutting criticisms in pop music history was John Lennon's remark dismissing certain Beatles tracks as granny music. Lennon, often the sharpest and most biting voice in the band, never hesitated to voice his disdain for parts of the Beatles' catalogue. Whether it was his own work or that of another member, he spoke his mind, and Paul McCartney was the one most frequently on the receiving end. While the Beatles were celebrated for their boundary-pushing artistry, McCartney had a long-standing fondness for old-fashioned styles like music hall, vaudeville, and early 20th century popular song. He had been experimenting with these influences since his teenage years, even though he was equally committed to rock and roll in the Beatles' early days. As the group's fame exploded in the 1960s and they gained more creative freedom, each member brought distinct influences to the table. Lennon with confessional folk, George Harrison with Indian instrumentation, and McCartney blending an eclectic mix of soul, harder rock, and, inevitably, his trademark nostalgic pop. McCartney's lighter, whimsical material became an easy target for critics and fans alike. Tracks such as Obla Di, Obla Da, and Maxwell's Silver Hammer have often been singled out as low points, and even admirers of his playful side admit those two might be pushing it. However, labeling the entire granny music period as a creative misstep ignores some of McCartney's strongest songwriting. Alongside novelty favorites like Yellow Submarine and All Together Now are pieces that reveal his skill as a chameleon-like musician. For this discussion, granny music refers to songs deliberately styled after music that was already considered vintage when they were written, not simply sentimental ballads. For instance, Here, There, and Everywhere, despite its gentle tone, is rooted in Brian Wilson's God Only Knows, not music hall tradition. The roots of McCartney's nostalgic style run deep. He wrote When I'm 64 at just 15, and the version recorded for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band retained the charm and elegance of his original draft without tipping into excessive sweetness. Yet perhaps his finest achievement in this style appears earlier on the same album, She's Leaving Home. Framed as a domestic drama in the style of a vintage Hollywood ballad, it is one of the most emotionally affecting songs in the Beatles' catalogue, proof that music in this style can be both timeless and deeply moving. Do you want me to also condense this into a sharper, under 300-word version that still keeps the same tone? That would make it easier for quick reading while keeping the substance intact.